African football fans, a very, very warm welcome to the Signal Iduna Park, the home of Borussia Dortmund in the Bundesliga, one of the most decorated, most famous clubs in the Bundesliga on a, well, I have to say, a very surprisingly warm January morning. Or let's say not morning, of course, it's the afternoon here. But it is almost a new dawn for the black and yellows as they attempt to take on St. Pauli this afternoon. They have had a mixed start to 2026, a 3-3 draw with Frankfurt, followed by a 3-0 win against Bremen. And now they're taking on a very much battling St. Pauli side from North Germany. As usual, we'll be keeping you up to speed with the developments across the footballing world, across the Bundesliga, and we'll also be bringing you the latest from the Africa Cup of Nations. There are two very big games happening this weekend, so stay tuned for all of that. I'm Kai Nebe.
Of course, stay tuned, and Kai, it's so nice to have you around today as well as we witness this showdown. A very warm welcome from me to St. Pauli, a club with a real cult following beyond its base in a suburb of Hamburg. Really in a battle for Bundesliga survival, I must say, Kai. As we know, their match last weekend was postponed due to a massive snowstorm, but they were in action in midweek against Wolfsburg, which they lost a hard-fought 2-1 decision. They are in the tight battle at the foot of the Bundesliga with Augsburg, Mainz and Heidenheim. And just 3 points separate those teams, so every point is precious in this situation.
Well, George, you couldn't have put it more succinctly there, because it is a very tight battle at the bottom of the Bundesliga. It's less so at the top, of course, with Bayern Munich already quite a few points ahead. So at the top of the table, the gap is actually, it is wide, but it's not too bad. It's 6 points between second and fifth, but Dortmund, Leipzig, Stuttgart and Hoffenheim are all chasing Bayern Munich, who are an astonishing 11 points ahead already at this stage of the season. So with that in mind, George, just as we're watching the Bundesliga teams line up here, Borussia Dortmund, of course, in their yellow tracksuits, and St. Pauli too, it's time for us to have a look at the starting lineup. And if I'm not mistaken, there's
Who
actually...
is that? Who is that?
It is, if I'm not very much mistaken, it is in fact the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz in attendance today.
Who is he supporting in this situation?
Well, that's a very good question, George. I think we will have to find out for that. But if possible, please give us the St. Pauli defense. This St. Pauli team, of course, being from a smaller club, both in size, both in stature, both from financial points of view as well. But they're a fan favorite, not just in the Bundesliga, but across the world. They have a loyal fan base because of also what the club stands for. It's a club that's formed itself around social issues. You'll see lots of people supporting it, not just for its footballing prowess, but what they stand for, the social issues they get engaged for. So that's why St. Pauli has a special place in the hearts of many German fans, George.
But definitely more interestingly to many fans who have turned up today, it's a question of if the team wins, and it will be pretty much, an enjoyable moment for them to see their team win. As we've mentioned earlier, that they are tight, beneath the table, and it's a battle that they must, show some strength of coming out of.
Definitely. And George, one thing we haven't quite mentioned is that the Bundesliga match day has already started. It started last night in a match between Wolfsburg, Werder Bremen, and the team from Frankfurt, which turned out to be an exciting game, a 3-3 thriller in there, Werder Bremen and Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah, I must say it was a disappointing moment for me. I was rooting for Werder Bremen in that particular case, and that late goal from Frankfurt really spoiled the party.
Yeah, Ansgar Knauf managing to score in the 94th minute, but it was a game that really swung both ways, didn't it, George?
It did, and pretty much Werder Bremen, they looked, pretty much prepared to win that particular one, having pulled 2 goals in the second half. That was really massive and showed some level of preparedness from this team.
Yeah, and I guess Werder Bremen is still not out of the danger zone, as it were. They also are battling a sort of a mid-table side at the moment, whereas Frankfurt are aiming more for Champions League places. They're in the hunt together with Dortmund and Leipzig for the top 4 place. Meanwhile, here, the black and yellows have come right upfield, and Julian Reisen is taking a throw-in, looking to maybe reach his teammate Adeyemi. Actually, George, quite it doesn't quite reach it, and St. Pauli's able to clear there. St. Pauli, George, they've managed to, in last season in particular, their defensive record was excellent. The only issues, they didn't score much as well. That was their main problem. What have been the issues for them this season?
This season, pretty much, I don't know if it is a matter of, luck and them not having actually a good footing, or rather a good start in the Bundesliga. But pretty much, I'm sure they are looking into coming out of that relegation uncomfortable zone.
Yeah, and here, getting a win here, or even just some points here at the Signal Iduna Park would not just be a thing of actually getting useful points, but also a huge morale boost for St. Pauli. But they're battling to maintain possession here. Now they actually get it back in the center of the park, and they're moving up here, upfield, but it gets cut out, and Joe Bellingham is able to catch the ball and move it forward. Except Dortmund here looking a little bit raggedy. Whenever they lose the ball, they look to be on the back foot. But here comes Fabio Silva, loses the ball again, and actually St. Pauli able to get the ball back and move it forward again. They're going to try and hit Dortmund on the break, George.
Yeah, they are going to do that, definitely. And pretty much interesting, Kai, I've been reading around about the youngster Joel Chima Fujita from, the midfield at St. Pauli. A lot is being said about this youngster.
Well, here he is. He floats in an absolute wonderful cross that is almost met by his strike partner, Mateus Pereira Lage is almost able to reach the header, but it goes out for a corner. But just as you were saying, George, he was there and making a really good play. And he's an interesting player because his national team is Japan, but he has also Nigerian heritage, correct?
Yeah, definitely has Nigerian heritage, and hoping that maybe he could have gotten a call-up, but I think things looks like he's going to play for Japan.
At this stage, yeah, Japan, of course, have qualified for the World Cup. It's going to happen in the United States as Dortmund again look to attack, but again, the final pass is cut out, and St. Pauli with Karol Metz able to clear up at the back. It's been a weird start the first 5 minutes of this match, I have to say, George, with Dortmund unable to really get a shot off goal or even impose their style. Both teams look to be feeling each other out, right?
Definitely, and I'm seeing it just played within the center half, hoping that maybe there will be some creativity to just push the ball through and look for a goal. That is what the fans are chanting for, and that is what they are waiting for. Goals, goals, goals.
Well, you mentioned the fans, and it's always such an honor for us to commentate when the matches are at Signal Iduna Park, because the fan culture here is so vibrant. I have also been to the Signal Iduna Park for matches even played during the Euros, and it is hard to describe, George, how loud this place gets. It's incredible.
It is indeed incredible. It feels, you can be confused actually if you are there actually, Kayu, and you're not following football for that much. And I mean, one day I was there, and it was the game that Borussia Dortmund was just required to win so that they could win the league. But,
and the fan base is also so passionate about this club no matter what happens. As they go on the attack here, it's unfortunately cut out again. That man, Fabio Silva, the main attacker, losing the ball. It goes for another throw-in, and it's again going to be Julian Reisen, but this time he goes for something shorter, passes it across to Emre Can, and they move it right across. Waldemar Anton, another German international, playing in the center-back position as they try from the other side to Dortmund, on the left side. And watching them move the ball across, they look to have a good structure so far, George.
Yeah, indeed. And let's see if this is converted into meaningful, attacking front.
It's interesting you mentioned that. We often talk about Dortmund in those terms, that they do have the tools to make something, but it's often the problem turning it into something meaningful.
Yeah, definitely.
Niko Kovac, we're seeing him, he has a lot of experience in the Bundesliga. Dortmund is, of course, the latest of his teams. He famously also coached Bayern Munich, even played for Bayern Munich in the past, Niko Kovac. And I think it's good that he has been assigned for a longer-term contract to essentially try and steady the ship at Dortmund and build something here.
Yeah, definitely. And we've seen that a number of changes that he made from the team that, faced Bremen. And I mean, we're hoping that these changes keeps, the stability of this particular front, and just to hint the adjustments that he made.
Yeah, Niko Kovac, of course, represented Croatia at international level, but he has lived in Germany for many, many years. And his press conferences are always great fun to watch, I have to be honest. He's a very down-to-earth coach who really says things as they are. It's and it's also fascinating, his analysis of his players. He says a lot of things that you really see how much he actually cares for his players and how they are playing. It's always fun in his conferences. Meanwhile, Dortmund are having to make some defensive maneuvers here with Nico Schlotterbeck, the latest to commit a foul here on the far right position from a St. Pauli point of view. St. Pauli so far unable to threaten the Dortmund box, but here they build from the back with Lars Ritzka trying to pass the ball further up to Matthias Pereira Lage, but it gets cut out and tossed back up. Right into the arms of Alexander Blessing, the coach of St. Pauli. Yeah. Lots of action across the Bundesliga, George. We should also not forget that there's always lots of games happening in the Bundesliga.
And of course, we are following on the same. And to all our fans who are listening to us through our partner stations, the UBC in Uganda, of course, Rai Power in Nigeria, a very warm welcome. Today's match that we're commentating on is Sao Pauli versus Borussia Dortmund. Tell us your prediction. You can also follow this live commentary on our YouTube page, DW Africa.
Yeah, George, a big shout out to all our listeners from Ray Power. We love having you on board and we love hearing from you. So don't forget to like and subscribe on DW Africa, or of course commentate on this match wherever you're able to do so. But George, looking across the board, there's this match, which is obviously the one we've chosen because it's going to be, it's turned out to be a bit like we thought, actually quite cagey at the start. But there's also Wolfsburg versus Heidenheim. And if I'm not mistaken, TSG Hoffenheim against Leverkusen have already taken the lead, a 1-0 lead for Hoffenheim against Leverkusen. Cologne versus Mainz, and Hamburg versus Borussia Mönchengladbach.
I've been trying to root for Leverkusen, but I don't know what is happening here at Leverkusen.
Being difficult, but here we have Karim Adeyemi on top of the box. He gets it over to Joe Bellingham. Makes a good pass across to Ryerson, who floats one in. Goalkeeper comes out and cleared off the line. Wow, that was very, very close. Dortmund almost getting in there, and almost a bit of a blunder, George, almost from the goalkeeper, Nikola Vasilj, right?
Definitely. That was a very...
Danger still here. Ryerson knocks it in, but it's... Wow, let's catch our breath, George. What just happened there?
That was a very wonderful crossing, parried away by the goalkeeper, but into the striking front's foot, which of course didn't materialize. But that was a very dangerous one.
You're right. It was actually Julian Brandt with the effort that he was actually a very good volley, but I believe it was Hauke Wahl standing on the goal line, managing to boot the ball out because Nikola Vasilj was nowhere near it. So first signs of danger for St. Pauli as they move up the center of the park, trying to get some possession of the ball and keep things sort of more in control. It's going to be a difficult game for them. We're playing against one of the top sides in the Bundesliga, we can't forget, at home. But George, if there is something to give this St. Pauli team hope, it is, of course, the first match of the season, George. Because that was the game where St. Pauli and Borussia Dortmund played to a bit of a classic game, actually. A 3-3 draw at the Millantor Stadium in St. Pauli.
Everybody was rooting for them, and people thought that maybe perhaps they would have won that particular one.
Yeah, they did come close, but it was quite a scene to watch, because at that stage Borussia Dortmund had taken a 3-1 lead, but were unable to hold it out, and eventually it was Eric Smith again who had managed to score the game-tying goal right at the end for them to draw that match. As St. Pauli move on the right-wing side, they try to get it across, but interesting here. There's the referee has blown a free kick against Nico Schlotterbeck, George, here.
Yeah, that could have been a foul play against Breaker.
And on the replay, that looks far worse, because I think he has been given a yellow card, has Schlotterbeck, but that looked far worse on the replay, didn't it?
Yeah, that was a very hard tackle from him.
But nevertheless, St. Pauli have
That was a nasty one.
Certainly was nasty, but now St. Pauli looked like they have a free kick in a very dangerous position here from the right wing side, just about 10 meters in from the corner post. So although we do have problems here, because the player who was injured in that, if I see correctly, I think it was Martin Kaj.
I think it is Preka.
No, you're right, it is Pirka. Yeah, exactly. He is still on the ground receiving treatment. And Nico Schlotterbeck might be fortunate here if this does not go to a VAR decision, because his studs were up.
The studs were indeed up. And he arrived too late to challenge that corner. But of course, he receives a punishment in way of a yellow card.
Yeah,
hoping there is no call for a VAR check.
Yeah, Friedrich Merz, who is wearing the colors of Borussia Dortmund here, is Friedrich Merz. Not looking too impressed by the Dortmund effort, as we are now about 16 minutes into the match. And there are boos around the stadium as Arkadiusz Perka is able to get up. Fortunate for him, he looks like he can continue with the free kick going to be taken by Eric Smith, looking to put it in the mix. It goes low and it hits a Dortmund player there, appeals for a handball. And it's a bit hard to see what has happened here, but it looks like a penalty has been given here.
Has it?
Certainly all the Dortmund players are appealing against the referee's decision, but if this is given, it's a handball by Fabio Silva.
Yes, you can tell by the the vocal noise from the fans. They sound uncomfortable with the decision, actually.
They sound very uncomfortable, but the referee is being called to go back to the screen. It is without doubt a handball because the ball really did strike the arm of Fabio Silva. But the question is, was he able to get out? And I think if he does grant this as a penalty, it'll be very harsh because certainly Fabio Silva's arm was not outstretched. It was in line with his body. So I think this will be taken back, George.
Die Strafstoßentscheidung für St. Pauli wurde überprüft. Nach Ansicht der Bilder liegt kein strafbares Handspiel vor.
So we just
it has been overruled.
So we are just getting the information from the VAR, and the referee has just given us the information now that it has been removed, has been taken back, which means that it'll be a referee's ball. And to be honest, George, you think that's a fair call?
That is indeed a fair call, as you've mentioned earlier, that his hand position was not stretched, and therefore the ball hit the hand instead.
Well, dangerous signs here, because on other days we've seen those kind of things given, and I imagine St. Pauli pretty much against the run of play being given a penalty this early in the match.
Yeah, definitely, but Fabio Silva must count himself so lucky not giving away that penalty in this particular case.
Yeah, and in this case, the VAR works in favor of the defending team. Often we see these going the other way, normally for the attacking side. But no matter, Gregor Kobel, the Swiss keeper, passes it on to his right wing side. Valdemar Anton collecting the ball, playing it back. I think it's that warning shot there from St. Pauli may give Borussia Dortmund some pause for thought here as they try to stamp their authority on the game.
Yeah, solidly looking in defensive.
Adeyemi! Oh, wow, that was very poor defending from St. Pauli as they give the ball away to Karim Adeyemi, probably the one player on the pitch you do not want to give the ball to, but he's unable to make more of it. Watch this here. Oh,
there was a blunder from Vasilj.
Yeah, very fortunate for St. Pauli there, but already a few things happening in this match, George, as we hit 20 minutes. I can't believe it. We don't have goals on the score sheet, but we certainly have some talking points here.
Yeah, definitely. We can smell a goal. Definitely, we don't know from which side who will, of course, begin to open the scoreline. But pretty much clear chances from both sides.
Yeah, and across the Bundesliga, the goals not exactly flying in. Hoffenheim, of course, the only team going ahead against Bayer Leverkusen. I have to say, George, Leverkusen's form over the last few games has been, well, bad, hasn't it?
It has been bad, considering that this is a team that people had very high hopes. But many pundits have been, claiming with the movements that happened after their former coach, Xabi Alonso, who was also sacked at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
When he left Leverkusen, of course, things started falling apart.
Well, it's actually incredible to think that Xabi Alonso did leave Leverkusen to take up the role at Real Madrid, but was unable to stamp his authority or his system on the team, and as a result has already lost his job at Los Blancos. Meanwhile, Karim Adeyemi remonstrating with his teammates because he tried to pass the ball back, but it was intercepted by St. Pauli, who now, at the end of all of that, get a A throw quite far in the sun. It's a good pass across here from Fujita. Tries hard to get it low, but they aren't able to get it down. Comes out, and the shot is shanked very, very, very wide here. I think it is Martin Sands at the end. No, apologies. It was in the end. Lars Ritzka making a hash of that volley that ends up far, far away out of danger. Actually, right in the yellow wall, George.
Yeah, right in the yellow wall. And of course, many will be hoping that, of course, the creativity of Karim can come to play at this particular moment. He is a very creative player.
Well, George, looking across the St. Pauli side that you read out earlier, I have to say, when you're looking at the subs, they have no more midfielders, but they have loaded up in terms of defenders and forwards, haven't they? They have options to swap out forwards. There's Abdoulaye Cisse, Oladapo Afolayan, and Ricky Jade Jones as options for them to bring on later in the game.
Yeah, but I'm sure at this particular times they want to really strengthen their defensive line, Kai, because facing Dortmund is not just any other team. And definitely, I'm sure coming out with a point from Signal Iduna would be something impressive for them.
Well, yes, but I'm not sure that they are exactly the team to park the bus, as it were, and try and just play for a draw right from the start. That's not really in St. Pauli's DNA, but perhaps, George, you're correct. As the game goes on and maybe get to the 70-minute mark and it's still a draw, we might in fact see that.
That is most likely. It is the 23rd minute played so far, Kai. No goal from both sides.
Yeah, of course. And Dortmund again building patiently from the back. It's a really good ball across that ends up here, and a free kick granted straight away in a very dangerous spot. Julian Brandt going down. No real complaints from the St. Pauli players. Really nice play, actually. Fabio Silva with a wonderful flick. Julian Brandt running across, but he gets tugged and pulled and goes down right in the middle, actually, George. And we're seeing a lot of players standing around the ball. Who's going to take this free kick?
Could be Julian Brandt would go for it again.
Yeah, Julian Brandt. It's just off center here. Julian Brandt looks like he wants to take this. It's really close to the goal. In fact, it's so close that the St. Pauli players are basically standing on the penalty spot. That's how far back they've been pushed by the referee. So we'll see who ends up going. We still have Schlotterbeck, Adeyemi, Ryerson all standing around the ball. But it does look like Julian Brandt has called this. I mean, it's very close. And here they go. It is indeed. Oh, my goodness. It just goes wide. Everyone thought that went in. It was Julian Brandt. But this ball missed the goal by a whisper over the bar. That
was so close, Guy.
Yeah, I thought that was in. It was so close. It was a really good free kick. It rose over the wall and dipped right below the post. But it just went, well, literally centimeters wide, George.
Yeah, I thought that it went through the net.
I was about to call it. That was a goal. And I think half the stadium did too, because there were muffled shouts, but then realized that nobody in Dortmund was celebrating. So I guess that did not go in. We're still tied at 0-0 here as Dortmund launch another attack. What do you think Niko Kovac would be thinking so far at the quarter mark through the match, George?
I think he's more of like trying to call upon the creativity to be enhanced at the midfield. And of course, such chances like what we've seen Julian Brandt, have, is what he may be yearning for as a coach currently.
Oh, danger here as St. Pauli get a rare break forward. They bring it across, and Korbel comes up with a massive save there. As again, it's that man, Lars Ritzka and Arkadiusz Pieczka on the right side, making everything happen, and the last guy to touch the ball, Matthias Pereira Lage, getting the save out of Gregor Kobel. Good chance there for St. Pauli. And they're coming again. Perka on the right wing side. He's caused a few problems there, hasn't he, George?
It has been indeed a game of chances, Kai. A lot of chances being created from both ends.
Yeah, and now they're going to have it's going to be a throw in, but they're not going to take it long by the looks of things. St. Pauli. Well, they get the chance to go up, but it goes straight out, and it's going to be a Borussia Dortmund throw-in, which, well, much to the chagrin of the St. Pauli players, they don't get that one for them. Schlotterbeck lines up with the ball, and maybe is able to relieve some pressure here. Well, I have to say, George, it's definitely doesn't look like a match between second and second last in the Bundesliga.
Indeed, both teams treading clear chances, Kai, and this is indeed a very wonderful match to commentate.
Well, and also just looking across the stats of this match, it has been very, very even. In fact, when it comes to expected goals, it is dead even at 0.46 each. And I have to say, I've watched X goals, that metric, quite a lot, and I've never seen it so even, to be honest, where, of course, Dortmund have managed to complete more passes, but where it matters, shots on target, it's been dead even. A few more chances for Julian Brandt, who's probably been Dortmund's best player so far.
Yeah. Of course, end-to-end fireworks, and of course the volley being cleared off in the line, and the instant counter volleyed through fingerprints. Yeah.
And it's been a relatively clean match, even though we've seen some hard tackles going in on both sides. At this moment right now, it appears that Adam Schwigala, who is limping a bit. No, apologies, not Schwigala. It is, in fact, Matthias Lage Pereira who is limping. But he's back on his feet and able to continue. We've got we've got a couple of Polish players here for St. Pauli, Adam Schwigala being one of them, and Arkadiusz Perka as well. DJ here as Adeyemi fails to get on the end of that one, but that was again close. So yeah, and then on the left back position for St. Pauli is a Lithuanian by the name of Karol Metz. Not many Lithuanian players playing in the Bundesliga, but Karol Metz is certainly one of them. Game has cooled off a little bit now. Both teams looking to consolidate now rather than actually go straight for goal, as the St. Pauli players take a throw in and try to build up right from the back. It goes all the way to Nikola Visilj. If he can get there, able to keep it in play, and he kicks it upfield. But again, this is the problem, I guess, George, that St. Pauli battling to keep possession, right?
Yeah, they're indeed battling to keep possession, and as you've said earlier on, the game has pulled off, and this is a deliberate build-up from both sides, as we're seeing. But ending up only at the midfield, we're not seeing, much danger in their attacking front.
Well, George, I know that you are quite a big Cologne fan, but I have bad news for you, and that's that Mainz have just taken the lead against Cologne.
And I think something is happening with Mainz. They are so uncomfortable at the bottom that they want to win every game, every single game that they are having currently.
Yeah, but how would you describe this situation for Cologne, who have had quite an interesting season, George? They early in the season, they displayed a resilience I hadn't seen from a Cologne side for quite a while.
Yeah, we will be coming back. We will be coming back. That should be the typical answer from a Cologne fan.
You think that Cologne are still going to come and pull this one back? Well, that's good. It's good to have an optimist here as we commentate this match, Dortmund against St. Pauli. And of course, remember, you can tune into this match wherever you are listening from, because we are available at DW Africa on our YouTube page, and you can catch the live stream there. And of course, George, where can you hear this when you're listening on shortwave radio?
Of course, you can listen to this through our partner stations across Africa. Of course, not to forget to mention Rai Power in Nigeria, the UBC in Uganda, all those are places where you can listen, and of course just listen, but be part of this particular live commentary, be part of the game, and tell us who do you think will win in this particular game. In this case, Dortmund versus St. Pauli.
And tune in right now, because it looks like St. Pauli do have a corner, and it's their main man, their captain, Eric Smith, standing over the ball. Going to take a in-swinging corner here from the left side. Looking to get the ball into the box. It goes long. It's a really good one, and it just misses the outside of the post. It went past everybody. Gregor Kobel is really upset that either none of his teammates was able to get the ball out of play, but he also seems to say that he was being fouled, and he might in fact have a case there, because James Sands was very close to him, and well, nothing comes of it, and it just goes out for a goal kick. But that was another hint of danger. They can be vulnerable, can this Dortmund team?
They can be indeed vulnerable, and I believe that is what St. Pauli is trying so hard to do.
James Sands, of course, one of the number of Americans playing in the Bundesliga, who will also be hoping that he will be able to represent his country, the United States, at the 2026 World Cup. His place is not yet assured in that final national team, but strong performances in the Bundesliga will certainly help his case. Slight delay here as Adeyemi is being told off by the referee for not allowing enough space between him and the goal and the free kick. As St. Pauli move forward here, a really good play on the left wing side. It comes right in, but Joe Bellingham able to cut off that pass, and it comes out to Eric Smith from St. Pauli. Here they come again to St. Pauli, but again, they are swarmed by the bees.
Of course.
swarmed by the black and yellow bees of Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, but we should mention that the boys in brown are not intimidated, even with the Chancellor Matz watching from the high.
It's true.
And of course, donning the scarf of Borussia Dortmund. This is not, intimidating the St. Pauli boys. But hopefully, they can pull a goal before we head to the first half break.
Of course, we're now in the 35th minute of the match. It's been an intriguing encounter so far. I would say either team has particularly had the edge. Again, like we said earlier, George, this certainly doesn't look like a game that you would expect from a second last versus second in the table, does it?
No, it doesn't at all.
And again, solid defending here from St. Pauli. But George, do you think that St. Pauli will be able to keep up the pressure that they have on Borussia Dortmund as it goes further and longer into the match?
You mentioned earlier that at the start of the Bundesliga, when they faced Borussia Dortmund in that 3-3 thriller, one of the key strategies they made sure was to close the spaces so that Dortmund didn't get any clear chance of making them meaningful, and I believe that is the same strategy they could be employing today with that solid defense and the back lines standing like iron walls against Borussia Dortmund.
It's a good point you make, because one area on the bench that they do have more reinforcements is of course in defense, where they've got still Finn Stevens, Tomoya Ando, Lewis Oppi, Yannick Robac, and Manolis Saliakis, who could all be the replacements if the backline does tire later on. The forwards, of course, being Cisse, Afolayan, and Jones, they might act as point men. Remember, though, that the St. Pauli team is missing their top scorer, actually, the Bundesliga, Huntonji, who is still, unfortunately, injured, and hopefully he will be back soon. Meanwhile, St. Pauli look to build on the right wing side, but again, it gets cut out by the tenacity of Borussia Dortmund, and it goes for Dortmund throw here. Yeah, Emre Can, the veteran player for Borussia Dortmund. He's had a long career, played for a lot of successful teams, for Liverpool, for Juventus, He's also played a lot for the German national team, and it's quite surprising. He is really a veteran of the game, still playing at his age. 32 years of age, the captain of Borussia Dortmund.
Of course, and with 43 tackles won this season so far, Kai, and he indeed anchors the midfield with, of course, his experience, I should say.
Well, here Dortmund move up the right wing side.
That was nasty pulling.
Nasty pulling, and Chan is able to continue, makes a really good run. Ball comes right across, and the referee quite wisely lets them play, but as a matter of fact, it is Eric Smith who was, well, almost pulling the shirt of Emre Can.
The battle of captains.
Yeah, the battle of the captains. The referee does give Smith a yellow card after the fact because, well, he did try and foul him, just wasn't able to pull down Emre Can. Now
that could have been clever because we know that Can can always orchestrate and of course create very clear chances. That could have been a goal if he was not slowed down, maybe.
Corner here for Dortmund. They swing it in and it goes right across, but it goes out for a goal kick. Schlotterbeck got on the end of that, but was unable to keep the ball low. But George, looking at the substitutes bench of Borussia Dortmund, who do you think could also come in here to make a difference?
Gerasi, of course, is the man to watch in this particular one. I like the way he plays, and I'm sure if they are really yearning for the goals, he must come in one way or the other.
Well, here comes St. Pauli. They move right across. It's actually a really good shot and almost an own goal, except it had been blown off earlier by the assistant referee for an offside here. Yeah, was an offside position here. It was, unfortunately, offside. Wouldn't have counted had it got in. But again, it was that man, Emre Can, running out and clearing the ball. But also, George, just to continue back onto the substitutes bench of the Borussia Dortmund, they also have Kani Chukwuemeka and Maxi Bayer and Julien Duranville, who could also come up in a attacking situation there.
And maybe bring in Nicolas Silva if maybe they need something at the midfield.
Yeah, the veteran defender, formerly of Bayern Munich as well. Well, food for thought here, as we can see Alexander Blessing trying to figure out how his team can possibly break the deadlock against Borussia Dortmund here. Doesn't matter, the fans on both sides are really into it, waving their banners. Some have not even sat down once during this game. So it's a great atmosphere at Signal Iduna Park. As again, Dortmund break up another attack. Joe Bellingham passing it further up, looking for his wingman here. Believe it is in fact Svensson who loses the ball, passes it back. No real cutting edge, George. I have to be honest, it's been quite disappointing watching Dortmund try and play in the final third.
But clearly seeing that the St. Pauli boys, of course, trying to close all those chances, any gap that may, create any chance, they've been trying to cut it and, reducing the supply of balls in the attacking area. And just to deny Dortmund any chance to score.
So the striker for St. Pauli, Martin Kars, has been a bit of a lonely man here. He's able to hold the ball up and at least establish a marker for St. Pauli as they look to launch an attack here. Their passing has not been crisp and they're forced to take it all the way back to Karol Metz, who passes it across to his defensive partners. They need to move quicker, but again they lose the ball out, and it's that man, Karim Adeyemi, who races forward, and this is where he's really dangerous. But luckily for St. Pauli, he's unable to make more of that, with the goalkeeper Nikola Vasilj coming out and Karol Metz cleaning up at the back here. Really good work, but it was Duiguala who was guilty of giving the ball away, and he actually does really good and tracks back, but is unable and that stops Karim Adeyemi from getting the goal there.
That has been a very solid defending.
Karim Adeyemi, George, we know he can burn everyone with his speed and his dribbling. but neither him nor Dortmund have displayed a cutting edge as St. Pauli take the free kick here. Well, another card coming here. It happened off camera, as I do believe it was Adeyemi who gets the yellow card here for laying a foul on Karol Metz. I mean, Adeyemi actually very unnecessarily.
That was unnecessary indeed, Kai.
He barges into Karol Metz, who had already cleared the ball, and Adeyemi put his shoulder into his chest, knocking him over.
But he gets a punishment for that.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, very surprising. It seemed like a very unnecessary thing. Karol Metz and Adeyemi having words there.
Yeah, of course, if you're joining us right now, it is Borussia Dortmund versus St. Pauli. The game still standing at 0-0. Of course, clear chances from Brandt. Otherwise, we are just seeing a Dortmund side that lacks the pace against, a defensively organized St. Pauli.
You're right, George. It's been a very defensively disciplined performance so far by St. Pauli as they try to get the ball up. And again, they're starting to see quite a few niggly challenges coming in from both sides here. I have to say, it looks like this could get more tasty. And here, Adeyemi goes rolling across the pitch. And another foul against Fabio Silva. Although Adeyemi is back on his feet and is again complaining. Now he's having words with Alexander Blessing, the coach of St. Pauli. Alexander Blessing says, just come on, get on with the game here. But the referee blew a free kick, it looks like, on the halfway line. But again, George, here it gives St. Pauli enough time to get all the players back and defend.
And they would want to do that, actually, Kai, not to concede any goal as they head to the break of this first half.
Yeah, you're right.
And maybe to come back and consolidate.
Exactly. The game has flown by. We're already only 1 minute left before halftime blows, before we get any stoppages. Anyway, here on the right wing side, left wing side rather, the Dortmund tries to get the ball in, but unable to beat the first line of defense, and it goes all the way back to Schlotterbeck, who now has the ball, working out loud here with Waldemar Anton, Emre Can right at the back here. They're having to build from scratch. They're not having it their own way, Borussia Dortmund, in this match.
And not a pretty pacey game as I expected from Dortmund, Kai. But the question is, who will blink first?
Who will blink first? You're 100% right. And here they managed to get the ball right across to Dortmund. Ryerson tries to get the ball in. It's awkward, takes deflection, but Nikola Vasilj able to gobble it up and hold on. He's had he got lucky, didn't he, Nikola Vasilj, with his blunder earlier that almost gifted Dortmund a goal. Julian Brandt unable to capitalize from that. But since he's looked like he's calm on the ball, is the Bosnian keeper.
Yeah, definitely. And he has to enhance his grip on that ball, making sure that he doesn't, anybody doesn't have a chance at a rebound.
Well, exactly. It's one of the things that all goalkeeping coaches tell their keepers: try whatever you do not to give up a rebound. And here's the danger man on the right, Adeyemi, trying to go past. Ball goes right across and it's in! Oh my goodness! It's that man, Julian Brandt, tapping in.
Brandt!
Well, we did criticize his behavior earlier, did we, with Adeyemi, where he unnecessarily got a yellow card, but here he produces a moment of magic going past Karol Metz on the right wing side, leaving him for dead and making a very good low cross here that is tapped in by, well, it looks like a ghost almost. Julian Brandt appearing out of nowhere, tapping the ball in.
What a strike, Kai. What a strike. As you mentioned, it was a cross from the danger man Adeyemi right into the feet of Julian Brandt, and he had the ease and confidence of just converting that to make sure that the yellow wall is up and celebrating.
Yes, exactly, George. After toiling so long in this first half. It took them until the 45th minute to finally break the deadlock. And when they did, they made it look easy, did Dortmund. And they now, well, I think for St. Pauli, it's quite disappointing to concede so late in the first half. They would have really taken a 0-0 scoreline going into the intermission. But they now 1 goal down as they try to hit right back, but unable to do so as Fujita gives away a foul here in the Dortmund half.
Could this be an indication of the floodgates opening?
Well,
and many goals coming through?
Yeah, it's a good question, George. We'll have to, I guess, wait till the second half to see if that goes. We do have 3 additional minutes, of which we've played 2 already. So I think it would be best for St. Pauli to at least get into their changing rooms and reassess now.
Definitely it needs a thorough reassessment, not just allowing Brandt to just, in a slicky way, to get in that defensive, line and just convert that at ease, Kai. A team that has really defended throughout the first half.
Yeah, and it was because they defended so well, did St. Pauli. They caused Dortmund such trouble. They weren't able to have it their own way. And then to allow a goal like that to go through, I think must be really disappointing for Alexander Blessing and his team, as they now have to figure out how they're going to come back from a 1-0 down to at least get a point out of this game.
And it's a point that they really need at this particular moment. As we mentioned before, they are seated at the bottom of the league, and that is a position no team really wants to be. Very uncomfortable.
You say that, George, and you're 100% right. With results happening other way across the Bundesliga and other parts, St. Pauli are now definitely lost in the Bundesliga at this stage. But, of course, there is a whole 45 minutes of football at least to be played in the second half, which is where you and I, George, will be back. And for now, please enjoy the halftime show where we discuss the AFCON and what exciting matches are there to be had. And we will be back just now.
Bundesliga Radio, live.
Welcome to the Bundesliga halftime show. With all the excitement surrounding the Bundesliga, we should not forget that for African football fans, there is a massive weekend at the African Cup of Nations ongoing. It's really the business end of the tournament now, and it's the third and fourth playoff, and of course, the final between Morocco's Atlas Lions and Senegal's Teranga Lions. Senegal's Sadio Mane fired the Teranga Lions into the final after defeating heavyweights Egypt, leaving talisman Mo Salah still searching for his first continental trophy. Mane was gracious in victory and paid tribute to his former teammate at Liverpool, who has become somewhat of a rival at the continental stage.
Egypt is, for me, the best ever team in Africa. And today they show it again. And wow, what a team. And it was not easy for us, and we expect that because it's Africa Cup and we're struggling, but we keep patient and from face to this great player, especially Mo Salah, one of the best players in the world. And of course, he's always giving his best for his team. Unfortunately for him today as well. But well, I just want to say this is part of football.
It was absolute pandemonium in Morocco as the hosts squeezed past Nigeria's Super Eagles in a penalty shootout. After their World Cup semi-final appearance in Qatar, the pressure has grown on the Atlas Lions to finally deliver at AFCON. They have won the tournament once, but that was in 1976, half a century ago. And with the star-studded lineup they have, maybe it's time to win on their home turf. Coach Walid Regragui, speaking after the win against Nigeria, certainly seems to think the time is now.
These are matches that are played on mental strength and on the details. In any case, we were well positioned today. This is a team that had scored 14 goals. I think they had 2 shots and 1 shot on target. So that shows that we've often talked about the defense for 3 years and how the players raised their level. In any case, I am very, very happy for the players and for the Moroccan public who deserve this. We have suffered so much, and the fact that we are in the final of the Africa Cup of Nations at home today is a beautiful gift.
Which lion will roar loudest in the scrap for Africa's biggest prize? I guess we'll all have to wait and see. But at this time, it's also an opportunity to take stock of how far the African Cup of Nations tournament has come, and also address some of the criticisms that have been launched at the governing body CAF. At this tournament, rightly or wrongly, there were loud protestations around the standard of refereeing. Our correspondent, Samson Omale, caught up with CAF's head of TV and communications, Lux September, to talk about some of these issues and where there's still scope for CAF and AFCON to get even better than it now is. Take a listen.
Lux, so far, what has been done, especially in the last few years of Dr. Motsepe's reign, that has improved the quality of African football on the continent?
I mean, we've always known that African football is among the best in the world, at least on the field. But there was a clear need about 5 years ago to really change the direction of African football off the field, to change Africa as a way. Because fundamentally, you must ask yourself, I mean, why would a Dr. Motsepe want to come to football? Why would you want an accomplished businessman want to come to football? Primarily, I think he realizes the need and the potential and the power of football as a platform to reposition Africa. Africa, not just on the field, not about football, but the story of football. The last 5 years have been about what leadership can do. In life, if you have the right leader, with the right vision, who demands standards, who doesn't take people's money, who is committed to good governance, to clean governance, to high standards, this is what happens. What we have seen now, commercially, African football has grown over 160%. The prize money in football has increased throughout all CAF competitions. I mean, the winner here, I think when he arrived, the winner of AFCON was taking around just under $3.5 million. Now you've got about $10 million for the winner of AFCON. You look at schools football investment, his own money, $10 million of his own money investing in schools football. The increase of money in club football, because the club football has to be among the best. But of course, the flagship competition is AFCON. How can we ensure that when the world is watching AFCON, the quality of production is the best, branding is the best, the media facilities are the best? All these things are not achieved through slogans. It's leadership.
Now, in talking about quality, which you just spoke about, let's look at the impact the African football has made in the last couple of years and where we are today. During the last AFCON, I remember the president did say that viewership increased and all of that. So what are some of the impacts we've seen so far and the level? You've spoken a bit about it. If you could just delve a bit deeper to let the continent know and even the world as to how much impact African football has had based on some of these changes that have been ringed around it.
I think already this AFCON is en route to be amongst the best ever in the world, the best ever in the history of AFCON. The TV numbers are amazing. The commercial success story is almost double what we had in Cote d'Ivoire. The audiences, because before AFCON was watched in less than 100 countries, now it's over 180 countries that are watching AFCON. The last AFCON, 1.5 billion people watch it on television. This year, the numbers are unbelievable. The people aren't stupid. They can see what is happening, right? I think in a quantifiable process, we all know and see the progress of African football. This AFCON, the best stadiums, thanks to the Moroccan government. I mean, the stadiums here, all the venues, all 9 stadiums were world class. It means that the players can play great football, of course. The infrastructure for media, the environment for the sponsors to be able to leverage and exploit their commercial investment in African football is there. So all these things are quantifiable projects. In Cote d'Ivoire, in Cameroon AFCON, the first AFCON that President Motsepe was involved in, there were 5 sponsors. In this AFCON, 26 sponsors of AFCON are involved. Now, it shows you that a lot of people can see the progress. Of course, I don't have to talk about what's happening on the field because you can see. But actually, we've always known that African football on the field of play is exciting. But has it been packaged well before? Maybe not. Has it been governed well before? I guess there were gaps in the past. When you close these gaps, you ensure that your product itself is something that is credible and strong.
All right. Predictably, permit me to put it that way, we're having a semi-final quartet, as it were, that's always between the North and the South. And people will wonder, I mean, is it the...
Yeah, but I'm not sure that's completely correct, you know. The last AFCON semi-final, the teams that were involved was Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, South Africa, and Congo. These were the 4 countries that were involved. Coming to this AFCON, no one could tell who was going to be in the semi-finals. So it's evolving. The last time there was Central Africa, Southern Africa, and 2 Western African countries. This time around, there are 2 North African countries and, of course, Western African countries. But it shows that African football is exciting, is unpredictable, and it's competitive.
All right. There's no how I can have the CAF director of communications not talking about a few concerns around officiating. A few persons are like, oh, compare again to what we had in Ivory Coast. It appears it took a nose down a bit. And of course, we heard at some point a few persons lost their jobs and all of that, especially with the CAF officiating, refereeing and all that. What will you say to a few of the things we've read or seen about officiating in some of the games, some of the calls in this tournament?
Yeah. Look, I'll tell you what, I mean, the CAF president and the CAF leadership is paying particular attention to the standard of refereeing. We have to always ensure that it's world class. And whatever that it might be, whenever there are challenges, we have to find ways to correct these challenges. Because sometimes it's perception. It's not about coming here to bring whatever starts. It's perception. The quality of refereeing brings a certain level of confidence to the people who are watching. And it's very important that we must do this. And whenever there are challenges, we must listen to those and look at them objectively to try and find solutions for them.
All right. Thank you very much. Lots for talking to us.
Thank you so much for your time. Okay. We have to make sure that we always up to expectation. And we saw with the investment, the level of investment in the last AFCON on the refereeing and the standard of refereeing, CAF invested a lot of money in this. Whenever there are challenges and shortcomings identified, we must do something to close that gap. It's vitally important that we must actually take tangible action, practical action to resolve those matters, but also not only in what we think is the reality, but we must deal with perception as well, because the perception leads to confidence. And we must always ensure that the people, the investors, the fans, the emotional owners and spiritual owners of football, the fans, have a certain level of confidence in the referees themselves. And CAF is paying a lot of attention on this. It's spending a lot of money on investing in referees. You see, we've got about 20 referees who are full-time at the moment. So we are investing a lot, and we are bringing a lot of younger referees in the spotlight. And I think what is important always is that whenever there are challenges, we must look at them and try and resolve them. I think you've got to look at everything holistically. This AFCON, record number of TV audiences, record number of ticket sales, record number of commercial partners, record number of global partners of African football, record number of interest. You can't look at one area and say it's not successful. You must look at the whole area holistically. So this AFCON, there is no doubt that this AFCON is by far the most successful AFCON in the history of AFCON. That is what the statistics are telling us. Are there areas where we should improve? 100%.
Samson Omali bringing us those comments from Morocco as the nation anticipates the final matches of AFCON. For now, let's head back to the Signal Iduna Park to catch the second half of the Bundesliga clash between Borussia Dortmund and St. Pauli. Don't go away.
Bundesliga Radio live.
And we are back here at the Signal Iduna Park, and it is still loud, and it is still as if none of the fans have seemed to have left their seats here for the halftime break. Players are not yet here, but you know who is here is George Okach. Good to have you back.
Definitely, Kai. How else would you have expected Signal Iduna to be today? After that one goal at the tail end of the first half, I'm sure the fans are excited. And also to mention, the German Chancellor could be excited by judging by, I saw him donning a Borussia Dortmund scarf.
Yeah, no, I think the German Chancellor is probably in a better mood after seeing after that first half goal, which was such a shame, I felt, for St. Pauli, because they'd actually caused quite a lot of problems for the black and yellows. They'd not given much away. And like you said, they completely switched off to allow Julian Brandt to sort of ghost through their defensive line and tap in the winner of the first half, at least, so that, it might still be a winner unless, of course, St. Pauli are able to pull one back here. But George, can you just give us an overview of the other matches happening in the Bundesliga as we progress through today's round of fixtures?
Definitely. Other matches include Hoffenheim versus Leverkusen. Leverkusen still trailing 1 goal behind Hoffenheim, which is very uncomfortable for this side. But Hoffenheim, of course, presenting a side whereby they want to also play at the Champions League. They are currently third in the Bundesliga.
That pushes them to just behind Dortmund. Yeah, you're right.
Yes, and the other match is between Mainz and Cologne. Mainz feeling so uncomfortable at the bottom of the league and now pulling 1 goal to just help them to climb up. And Cologne, of course, missing that UEFA, league position. Now 13th currently at the table. And then we have Hamburg versus Gladbach. The game is still at 0-0. Wolfsburg, Heidenheim. Heidenheim winning 1 goal so far. And, of course, the game that we are commentating, Dortmund versus St. Pauli, 1-0.
Well, George, for St. Pauli, it's double bad news that they went 1 goal down, but also that Heidenheim, who they are currently in a bit of a battle at the bottom of the Bundesliga to stay afloat, the fact that they're beating Wolfsburg away from home is double bad news for St. Pauli as they try to maintain Bundesliga survival. Referee is out having a bit of a laugh with the Borussia Dortmund players, particularly Fabio Silva, who is the striker. Borussia Dortmund all out. They must have had quite a short chat in the dressing room, whereas St. Pauli are taking their time. What do you think Niko Kovac is expecting from his team in the second half, George?
Of course, more goals, Kai, because that is what the fans will be glad to go home, with a win, a victory from this particular one. Remember, they're playing at home, Kai, and they can't afford to lose this one. If they have to really, keep the pace of defending, or rather trying to compete with the Bundesliga serial winners, that is Bayern Munich.
Right, and as far as we can tell, there are no substitutions for either side. However, there have been yellow cards in the first half. Karim Adeyemi going in the book, as well as Nico Schlotterbeck for Borussia Dortmund. Eric Smith, the captain of St. Pauli, going in the book as well. As Borussia Dortmund get us underway, they're playing right to left here. They're playing into the yellow wall as we've started the second half of this Bundesliga clash. And well, maybe some more cutting edge, as we will see from Borussia Dortmund. They come up on the right wing side, but the ball goes out of play, goes for goal kick.
That is a goal kick. And of course, all the expectation is that they can crush the yellow wall. But let's see, actually, Kai, they really need it. It is very uncomfortable to sit at the tail bottom of the league. And I'm sure that is a position that St. Pauli is not comfortable to be in.
I mean, I do have to say, I feel a bit sorry for St. Pauli keeper Nikola Vasilj, because he is playing with the entire yellow wall behind him. And as an opposition goalkeeper, that cannot be fun.
But of course, hoping that he is a professional that he is.
Yeah, Dortmund tried to build here now, and it's that danger man, Karim Adeyemi, causing all sorts of trouble on the right wing side, and he immediately draws a foul from St. Pauli, who basically decide they'd rather bowl him over than let him run past them, as he nutmegs Fujita and wins a free kick here. Now, quite dangerous position, George.
Yes, indeed. And as you've mentioned, he is a danger man that St. Pauli defense must really be keen to look out that he doesn't create such chances that he created to create the goal.
Julian Brandt looking threatening. Fujita realizing that maybe this was not the best place to give a free kick away. We've got Svensson and Ryerson standing over the ball, but it looks like it's going to be Ryerson who's going to float this one in. It's a good position for a cross here as they wait for the referee's signal, who has given it. And Svensson runs over the ball. It gets knocked in. Really good free kick, actually, and it's Adeyemi who's able to catch the ball, but referee has blown the
flag was up.
Half. Exactly, it was offside. Joe Bellingham, I believe, had just strayed slightly offside, or no, it was Waldemar Anton, which means St. Pauli now retain possession of the ball, try to move it upfield. Well, George, one thing we have to talk about is that, there was a massive game in the Premier League, which saw Manchester United play Manchester City, and we're all quite surprised by how that game turned out.
Unbelievable, Kai. And one of our colleagues always says that football has a way he tells his story. Manchester United not in a good form currently. Managing
That's an understatement. Yeah, of course, Manchester United have plenty of links with the Bundesliga. We all remember Jadon Sancho, who obviously played for Borussia Dortmund, then played for Manchester United, then played again for Dortmund. And of course, Ralf Rangnick used to be a Manchester United coach, formerly of Schalke, of course. As Dortmund come right in and it's St. Pauli able to clear it up there. But yeah, Bayern Munich talisman Bastian Schweinsteiger spent the twilight of his career also at Manchester United. So plenty of links between that great club and, of course, Bundesliga. We can't forget the coach of Manchester City being Pep Guardiola, who obviously also had a
stint at Bayern Munich.
Yeah, won the Bundesliga twice, I believe, there. And many Bundesliga players starting out here and then playing in the Premier League. We can't, of course, forget that would include really good Bundesliga players. That
Florian Wirtz, I should mention.
For Liverpool, exactly, yeah. And Frimpong, who also is playing now for Liverpool. And of course, Ekitike, former Frankfurt man, also playing for Liverpool, who also are in a bit of sort of mediocre form. So hopefully those players will be able to push them to the next level. Manuel Akanji, another former Borussia Dortmund player who also plied his trade with the Sky Blues of Manchester City. So plenty of links between the Premier League and the Bundesliga, players going in both directions. And we've already talked about Joe Bellingham and his brother Jude Bellingham, both England players. As Dortmund look to attack from the left wing side, ball gets played right out to Ryerson, who really does well to get the ball, tries to jink his way in, and it gets across to Adeyemi, but it is cleared by the St. Pauli defense all the way to Emre Can, another ex-Premier League player, also playing here for Borussia Dortmund.
Of course, and on this particular point, St. Pauli must defend as a unit, Kai, because Borussia Dortmund currently trying to use the flanks to particularly concentrate the ball in the danger zones, and maybe they may pull another goal.
Yeah, the danger for St. Pauli is that they do have to attack as well, which may leave them vulnerable at the back. But, well, like you said, we never know what happens at football. Football writes its own story.
Definitely.
Like here, again, Borussia Dortmund giving the ball away quite surprisingly here. Really good ball. Wow. Oh, my goodness. Really good ball from Fujita to Martin Kars, who's unable to keep control of the ball. But that was almost an opening for St. Pauli, who now have a throw-in on the right wing side here. I believe it's Arkadiusz Pirka who is going to deliver the throw in for St. Pauli, who are playing in their away white strips. Normally they play in sort of a brown and white striped shirt. And we all know, of course, the colors of Borussia Dortmund, world famous for being black and yellow, as that's also their nickname, the Black and Yellows.
Black and yellows against the boys in brown.
Here come Borussia Dortmund again, losing the ball out. But it gets to that danger man Adeyemi, who I think St. Pauli must be sick of seeing the sight of. But he has the ball again. He's really moving from wing to wing. He's got tons of energy. He's really played well. And Joe Bellingham, uncharacteristically losing the ball here. Here and Mecha have actually played really well together, it has to be said, the pair.
Yeah, that was a good combination. And I'm sure the coach may want to retain that only to strengthen the attacking side. The Borussia Dortmund fans, of course, chanting loudly right now. Kai is sitting very comfortable, hoping that, of course, their team can extend the league.
Yeah, certainly. And as we speak, we're seeing someone who we're very happy to see getting warmed up, possibly to come on, Sehu Guirassy, Guinea striker who has, of course, got a very good goal-scoring record. But as I was mentioning earlier, when you hear how Niko Kovac talks about his players, I was particularly struck how he was describing the role of Sehu Guirassy, who has not scored as much as we are used to seeing him score. But Niko Kovac said that doesn't bother him so much because Sehu Guirassy brings a lot more to the team than just goals. And that's the thing. If Sehu Guirassy is playing well for Dortmund, then Dortmund are winning, is what his message was. So if they can help him. Whereas they're coming forward now, Dortmund, they got the ball across. It's in!
What a blunder and what a goal!
Oh my goodness, George, what did we just see? It's that man, Adeyemi.
He is the danger man, definitely, Kai, as you've mentioned before, and as you continue to mention, of course, getting a crossing and an assist from Fabio Silva. And that was another blunder from St. Pauli defense that made sure that Borussia Dortmund pulls another one. It is 2-0 here at Signal Iduna Park.
Yeah, and if you didn't know that, you would definitely hear it from the crowd. It is that man, Fabio Silva, laying the ball across to Karim Adeyemi very unselfishly. He probably could have got the goal himself here, but Adeyemi sticks out a leg and is able to finish this one off into an empty net. And unfortunately for Nicolas Vasilj, he's unable to stop it. And, well, that's going to be a mountain. If it wasn't a mountain to climb already for St. Pauli, it's now become an even bigger one. As St. Pauli kick off and really try hard to somehow get something out of this game. And it's again that man, Adeyemi, going forward, passing it across to Fabio Silva, who tries to pull it back, but luckily for St. Pauli, Metz is there to stop the bleeding, as it were. But it goes out for a corner kick coming from the left wing side for Borussia Dortmund, who look to stretch their lead. We're only 55 minutes into the match, and it's already 2-0. Will they be able to add to this? It's gonna be, I believe it's Ryerson again who's going to knock this ball in. Yeah, Ryerson lines up to knock this ball into the mixer. The flags are waving, George.
They're indeed waving so high.
Oh, and it's a good punch out by Nikola Vasilj, who's had a lot to do in this half already, but he knocks it straight to the guy, Adeyemi, who is dribbling the ball. And, okay, this time he doesn't get the better of the St. Pauli defense. But, wow, he's played well, hasn't he, for the last few minutes, has he?
He's the danger man, as you've been describing him, Kai. In my view, he's the danger man. And the Sao Pauli defense must now, rise their level and then, of course, level up with what Adeyemi is doing at that attacking front.
Precisely, and here's Felix Mecha passing the ball across to the very skillful feet of Julian Brandt, who now opts to play the ball back, but they're still attacking Dortmund, and
the pressure is relentless, Kai. It is relentless pressure.
They found another gear, and here comes Julian Brandt again. They're unable to clear their lines of St. Pauli, and they keep giving the ball away to Dortmund, who now really very much have the bit between the teeth, as it were. George, just another thing to mention here, the links between Borussia Dortmund and Man City also go quite deeper. There's also Ilkay Gundogan. We mentioned Manuel Akanji, but how could we forget Erling Haaland?
Erling Haaland,
who made his name for Dortmund.
Definitely the top scorer.
Who is now banging in goals. Okay, not today against Manchester United, but certainly scoring plenty of goals for the Sky Blues. And of course, Felix Mecha, who played for a very short while for Manchester City, now in the colours of the black and yellows, as that man, Adeyemi, again creating trouble, this time running through seemingly the entire defence of St. Pauli. And, well, Karol Metz is just shaking his head. I don't know what to do with the speed of this man. Look at him.
As you've said, they've engaged a different gear. And it is a complete shift of the gear. And we're talking about the pace, the precision, and the power, overwhelming the visitors in this particular one.
Well, George, I think Coach Alexander Blessing needs to make some change here, because St. Pauli don't look like they're going to score, and they look like they're more likely to concede a goal, and they can't have either happen. They have to stop that. They can't concede another goal, or this game is
But I don't know if they've really seen the table. They are right now at the rock bottom of the table, which should be a very uncomfortable spot for them.
Yeah.
Someone should show them the league standing, maybe perhaps to encourage them.
Well, here they have a chance. It goes all the way to the right. They do have a chance. It comes across, but cut out. They're really good defending by Valdemar Anton. He stops the Martin Kars in his tracks there, but it comes across. Eric Smith passing it right back. Here they have to start from scratch to St. Pauli, but they pass it right across here to Pirka. Has a chance to make the cross. Comes across to Fujita. Looks across. Fujita has the ball again. They pass it back all the way to Pirka, who they're battling. They can't get across, and they're being pushed back by this resolute black and yellow's defense here. Comes across on the left wing side, trying to get the gap here. But
Can
George,
they find a breakthrough, really? That
George,
is the question that many fans are asking.
George, here then they lose the ball, and it goes out of play, and it's a ball for Ryerson, and again at the feet of that danger man Adeyemi, who, to all intents and purposes, been the man of the match so far, right?
He is indeed the man of the match, and of course the control to conquest every pass seems to be purposeful in this particular case, and converting a goal by himself, of course, after that wonderful assist from Fabio Silva.
Yeah. Felix and Mecha and Joe Bellingham have also played well in the middle of the park together, I have to say.
That is the creativity this team really demanded. And that is what it means to play for Borussia Dortmund.
Well, George, can you just take us across the Bundesliga scores? Because the current score of this match has implications for the rest of the table.
Definitely, it has implication to the rest of the table. We are following other matches.
Here, as St. Pauli launch an attack here, it comes all across to Martin Kars. Can he get the cross in? It goes out for a corner.
That goes out for a corner. And right now, currently, Offenheim versus Leverkusen. Leverkusen still trailing by that one goal. Offenheim, of course, leading at the 62nd minute. And tell you what, Kai, Cologne has just equalized, and it is 1-1 against Mainz.
Well, that's good for you. Good news for you.
Good news for me.
We're here in Bonn, but we can almost hear the Cologne fans are screaming from Cologne, 30 kilometers away.
Definitely Hamburg and Gladbach still at 0-0. Wolfsburg, Heidenheim. Heidenheim still leading by 1-0. That is very critical for them, of course. They want to leapfrog St. Pauli.
Corner comes in, and it's a goal! Can you believe it? Out of nothing. Eric Smith delivers a banger of a corner kick, and Gregor Kobel, who's done well so far, is unable to do anything about this, George. And the St. Pauli fans have something to celebrate, finally.
Indeed, they have something to celebrate and something to build on. Maybe they could pull another goal.
Wow.
And another one, Kai.
A really well-taken goal here, actually, from the corner set piece. But was it an own goal? It looks like it came off Emre Can in the end. I don't know if this is going to count as an own goal, George.
But Sands was there, actually. He had something to do with that.
Well, so far, Sands has definitely been credited with the goal, even though he was being marked, although not very well by Emre Can. But look at that. I don't think St. Pauli will care. All they know is that they have a goal back, and they're back in this game, George.
Definitely. A goal is a goal. If you hit it by the back of your head, in whatever style, it is a goal, and it is very critical for St. Pauli currently. And who knows? They may pull another one.
Well, George, this adds an extra dimension to the match, because it did look for a second that St. Pauli would have to surrender completely in this game. But this goal has given them some life and given Borussia Dortmund pause for thought, as they now have to also do some defending. And we're having a stoppage of play here because both Pirka and Svensson have gone down. And we're going to see substitutions, George.
Definitely, I'm seeing a lot of them lined up. Subs coming in.
Ritzka is coming off for St. Pauli. Tsugala is coming off. And so is Fujita. No, Fujita is not coming off, but who has definitely come on, as far as we can tell, is Ricky Jade Jones, a striker. So they're not giving up on this, St. Pauli. They still want to get something out of this. Tomoya Ando and Luis Oppi have also come on, so 3 subs until now. And just to be clear, off have come Lars Ritzka and Swigala and Martin Kars. They've come off. How does this change their formation, George?
Pretty much still the 3-4-3. It seems like he's sticking to that same formation.
But will they be a bit more effective? Fujita in the end is still on the pitch and he's still running, so he's not yet coming off at this stage. But who is on is Ricky J. Jones, who's already brought energy onto the pitch. Bit more of an open game here as Fabio Silva manages to muscle in and get the ball.
Yeah, but definitely it could have been a very good idea to remove their striker Martin Kers because he was lost for some reason. I didn't see much of action from him.
No, he had a very quiet game. He was well marshaled by the Dortmund defense, not able to make much happen there. But maybe Ricky J. Jones will manage. Here come Dortmund on the attack. It comes out all the way to Daniel Svensson. Good cross, except it comes again to Adeyemi, who looks to cross it back in, but is now moving back. Or is he going to torment the poor St. Pauli defense? He tries, but they get the ball off him this time. Yeah, level of excitement here, George. It's raced by, has this game. 65 minutes into this match. And with 35 minutes left, George, 25 minutes left, George, we still got quite a game on our hands.
Indeed, we have quite a game on our hands, and we may be talking about another draw. Remember, at the beginning of the Bundesliga,
here comes Ricky J. Jones, and he wins a corner. He bangs the shot off Valdemar Anton, who is happy to knock it out. But this is some good intent, isn't it, George?
It is indeed a good intended, but you can clearly see pressure really mounting right now, Kai.
Yeah, on the Dortmund defense, it would not be good. It would be very bad for Dortmund if they were to give up a 2-0 lead against bottom-placed St. Pauli. As Eric Smith, remember they scored from the last corner. Eric Smith lines up from the other side. It's a really good corner. It's almost in. Except, I believe the referee had blown for a foul on Gregor Kobel here. Again, this time is Fujita not allowing
the
goalkeeper anywhere near the ball. So back to square one for St. Pauli. Wow, it's been exciting now. The game has really, that goal has really breathed new life into it, and also you can hear it in the fans, George.
Of course, this is the game they paid tickets for.
Yeah, certainly. And across the Bundesliga, there have not been many changes in the scoreline. Cologne still drawing. Hoffenheim still beating Leverkusen. I wonder if Leverkusen's able to get something out of that match. Heidenheim still beating Wolfsburg. That's a game I'm kind of surprised by. Wolfsburg probably saw that fixture and thought they should be able to get points off, but at the 70th minute, they're still trailing.
They are still trailing at that particular level. And of course, Heidenheim have every reason to win that game. It's normally very uncomfortable to sit at the bottom of the table because you are staring at relegation, Kai, and I believe most teams there would do anything just to come out.
Well, George, it's not just the pride and losing many matches. There's also a lot of financial implications for being relegated from the top tier of Bundesliga football. And once you are in the second tier of Bundesliga football, it's very difficult to get back into the top. As Dortmund try to build on their lead, Mecha lets the ball run, but this time it goes all the way across, and Pirka, I believe it is, who's able to mop up for St. Pauli here. But remember, Hamburg, who were a team that had never been relegated, were relegated about 8 years ago and spent the next 7 years trying to get back into the Bundesliga. It's not that easy for them to do, is it, George?
It is not easy, but it has only been easy for Cologne, who always
seem to bounce back
and bounces back at the league in whichever format and way they want.
Well, there are more changes coming, George, and we are seeing that Seru Guirassy is being ready to come on for Borussia Dortmund. So some more attacking intent shown by coach Niko Kovac. Just wonder who he'll come on for. They surely won't be taking off Karim Adeyemi, would they?
I doubt if he wants to touch Karim, because he has been solid. And
Yeah.
the passes have been so instrumental into winning this particular one.
Yeah. Fujita, unfortunately, unable to connect with his strike partner there, Ricky J. Jones. As Dortmund look to build from the back here. As we hit the 70th minute, just 20 minutes of this match remaining at the Signal Iduna Park in Dortmund on this fine January day. Normally it's a lot colder, has to be said, as we saw last weekend, where many matches across the well, not many matches, but key matches in the north of Germany were actually cancelled.
Yeah.
Because not just in the Bundesliga, but also in lower divisions because of the snow that had fallen. No such problems this weekend.
Definitely no such problems.
Foul committed here against Nico Schlotterbeck, who uses the opportunity to allow a change for Borussia Dortmund, probably get a breather here. And we are seeing three changes. Maxi Bayer, Jan Kuto, and Seru Guirassy coming on. One change, Fabio Silva already coming off. He's played well, hasn't he, George?
He's definitely played well, and that assist was very instrumental. That led to the second goal, easily converted by Karim Adeyemi, who is also going off, as you earlier on had indicated.
And the last one to come off, Julian Ryerson, is also coming off. I think Karim Adeyemi has done his job. He's done well. I'm surprised he's coming off this early. Perhaps he's a bit low on energy. Maybe he's being conserved for another situation. Or only Niko Kovac will know. But what we do know is that Jan Kuto and Seru Guirassy, Maxi Bayer have a chance to show what they can do.
Definitely, they have to show what they can do. And you've earlier on said that Niko Kovac speaks so highly of his boys. And particularly Guirassy, who he has hailed as, the main man under the success of the yellow and black side. And we're expecting maybe he can pull out some surprises.
Well, now we actually have a free kick to St. Pauli, and again, a dangerous position. Remember, they have been dangerous from set pieces before, as Eric Smith lines up the free kick, but this is not so good. It's a really good one! Oh my goodness! St. Pauli have pulled it back, and it's that man, Jones, the substitute. Can you believe this, George? It's 2-2. Wow. I have to say, George, when it was 2-0 Dortmund, I did not expect this to happen. We are now tied at 2 in Signal Iduna Park. It's almost a repeat of the game we saw at the beginning of the season, George.
Of course, the game explodes back into life, Kai, and a repeat indeed of what we saw at the beginning of the season.
And how was this for a cross? Is it going to be ruled offside? I doubt it, but my goodness, what a great finish that was. He volleys, it's almost like a deflected volley, but he meant it. It flies over into the top corner. Gregor Kobel, an outstanding goalkeeper, was nowhere near that. What a goal for St. Pauli. And they celebrate in front of their fans because, wow, they do deserve that. They never gave up. And here they are, tied 2-2 with only 15 minutes to go. Wow.
Of course, at this particular point, no side willing to blink. It is square, 2-2.
Wow, wow, wow. What do we do now as a Dortmund fan? What are you hoping for, George?
There is nothing to hope for rather than a goal. But at this particular point, it is square, and either side is willing to blink. But who will blink first? That is the big question.
Well, I have to say that substitution of Karim Adeyemi coming off the pitch, the most dangerous Dortmund player, now suddenly looks questionable, don't you think?
Of course, maybe people may be questioning Kovac's decision, but he pretty much may have thought that he has won this one and gotten comfortable.
Well, it now puts quite a bit more pressure on the players he's brought on, being Sehu Guirassy and Maxi Bayer, the strikers, to try and restore the lead. Because remember, at 65 minutes, Borussia Dortmund were in fact 2-0 up. And it's now 2-2.
And the game has just started now, literally.
Yeah, I think we're in for a very interesting final 15 minutes of this match. Wow, I can hardly catch my breath here as we watch events unfold at Signal Iduna Park here. Like you said, George, football writes its own story. The question will be, what do you do as a St. Pauli? As a St. Pauli player, do you try to go for the win, or do you try and hang on to what you've got?
Of course, go for the kill. That is what they must go for. And as I told you, Kai, they must be playing while looking at the table. Still, at the moment, they are still at the rock bottom of the table with 16 points. So definitely, they may need a win to ensure that they leapfrog Mainz and Heidenheim.
I have to say, George, we're hearing lots of noise in the Signal Iduna Park, but it is all coming from the contingent of St. Pauli fans who are cheering their team on, willing them to get another goal. And what an atmosphere in one of Germany's top stadiums. Top theaters of football, rather. Wow, let's have a look at what is happening across the Bundesliga, because I think this game has been the most fascinating one in terms of what's going on. As St. Pauli move forward, looking to add to their lead. It's coming in from the left side. Cross comes in, and it's Fujita unable to get back onto it. And Kobel keeps the ball into safety. And you have to say, St. Pauli look to be in the ascendancy now.
They're indeed in the ascendancy, and they desperately need that one goal just to make sure they come out of Signal Iduna with 3 points, which is very critical for them.
Well, I mean, considering where they were about 15 minutes ago, I think they'd be very happy with where things go. But they do have to watch out at the back, because Dortmund still have some attacking threats. Julian Brandt is one of them, and he's able to pass the ball back to Svensson, but he's on the ball again, and this time wins a throw in from that from Germany's danger man, Julian Brandt. It was Ando who was marshalling him there. One of a number of Japanese players playing in the Bundesliga right now who probably will also be turning out for Japan at the World Cup. Here, St. Pauli boot the ball forward. It's a bit speculative, but it ends up with Fujita. And it's going to be a free kick for Borussia Dortmund. Pereira Lage, who's had an effective game. He's not been able to score, but he has been a bit of a menace at the back, especially whenever there's been a set piece.
He has been dynamic, actually. He has been dynamic, overworking himself.
Yeah, certainly. Of course, here comes Schlotterbeck for Borussia Dortmund, who haven't covered their set piece defending has not been covered in glory, it has to be said, George. Both goals came from very similar set pieces, and they weren't able to defend either. So perhaps that is what St. Pauli thought as they go on the attack here. It's Ricky J. Jones running in. He's beaten the defender. It goes Oh my goodness. Gregor Kobel coming to the rescue of Borussia Dortmund here. And I think it was onside as well.
Ricky John.
Yeah. My goodness. Borussia Dortmund living dangerously. Ricky J. Jones has made a massive difference since coming on. He's brought pace and he's brought a goal. And
definitely, it takes single players sometimes actually, Kai, to change, the pace and the mood of the game. And that is what Ricky J. Jones is doing currently for St. Pauli.
Yeah, in what a way too. I mean, that goal, I can't actually talk enough about that goal he scored. It was really well taken. It was an excellent volley as he was moving forward and able to nurse it into the top left-hand corner where Kobel had no chance whatsoever. Now, do Dortmund try and go for the win? They do have the striker in Sehu Girassi. They still have 2 more subs left, if I'm not mistaken. Perhaps to bring on Kani Chukwuemeka or Julien Duranville, because I think they have to go for this, George. I think they have to go for it, don't
Definitely, they need to go for it. Their position at the top is not also very certain.
Yeah, with Hoffenheim winning, that's also Hoffenheim doing really well. They're breathing down their necks. And it'll take a big result for Leipzig to win against Bayern Munich later today, but they too are in the hunt. As Dortmund come forward here, it's Sehu Girassi on the ball, number 9. Gets the ball back here, moves it to his left foot, pulls the trigger, but it goes out for a corner. St. Pauli's Sanz, who has scored, he also scored already, the American, now having to do some defending here. As St. Pauli look to defend with their backs against the yellow wall, with the banners waving, but perhaps a little bit subdued yellow wall. But we know that just one goal could cause that entire stand to spring into life. As the corner is being lined up here, it's going to be swung in with a left-footed strike. It goes right in and it bounces around. Nikola Vasiljevic finds it and jumps on it, and they're able to make the save. Good corner this, wasn't it, George?
This was a good corner.
Oof.
Only to be saved by the goalkeeper there.
St. Pauli on the attack, coming forward. It's Fujita, who's had a good game so far, I have to say. Ball gets sprayed right out wide. Will he be able to stop it? It's Pierka moving in, the number 11. He's had a good game, the winger, but he puts it on the head of the Dortmund defense, and they're able to defend it. But here comes another corner coming in, and, the cross comes in, but they're not able to do much with it. Fujita has it on the left wing side. He passes it back out. Certainly playing with a lot of confidence. Here's Fujita taking the shot, but it rolls out for a corner kick. And we know what happened in the last set piece that was in this kind of position. The referee has shown it's a corner kick here coming from the left side. And, if you're a Dortmund defender, this might be a bit nerve-wracking now.
It is indeed nerve-wracking. They wouldn't want to consider, especially at this particular point. 9 minutes of the normal play time. Conceding here would mean...
Captain Eric Smith to take the corner. Whips it in, but this time Gregor Korbel grabs it and looks to try and get it upfield very quickly. And, well, he does kick it upfield, but it goes straight to his opposite number, Nikola Vasilj, who's very far out of his goal. Comes up to Ricky J. Jones, but he's blown for offside.
Very well in other matches. Wolfsburg has pulled another surprise goal, making the game 1-1 against Heidenheim. Of course, a reprieve maybe to St. Pauli.
So where does that leave St. Pauli in the table, George?
Of course, it doesn't change that much, actually, Kai. They still... Yeah, actually, St. Pauli have leapfrogged Heidenheim. And assuming the match remains the same, then they will still be the second last in the Bundesliga. St. Pauli, that is. Heidenheim currently at the rock bottom of the table with that 1-1 draw against Wolfsburg.
Well, George, more changes here in the colors of Borussia Dortmund. They have made 2 more substitutions, and it is, as we thought, Kani Chukwuemeka and Sali Özcan coming on in place of Felix Nmecha and Julian Brandt. Surprising that Julian Brandt is coming off. He is a dangerous player, but he is off. So both goal scorers for Borussia Dortmund are off the pitch. They've been replaced by 2 midfielders. Hopefully they can unlock something here. As a big shot comes in from Sehu Guirassy. Tries it from outside the box, but can't keep it down. Well, that was a snapshot, wasn't it, George? Wow.
It was indeed. But unlucky that it was wide.
He did get power behind it, did Guirassy. Wow, George, it's been an exciting final few minutes here. We still have about 6 and a bit to play at Signal Iduna Park. And if you are listening to us from our partner stations or on our YouTube channel, thank you so much for joining us in this exciting Bundesliga fixture. And of course, remember to add your comments to the platforms and call in at your stations to tell what you think of the Bundesliga match. It's Borussia Dortmund still in search of a winner here in this intriguing game here. Schlotterbeck forced all the way back. Waldemar Anton starting back and finding Sehu Guirassy. Chukwuemeka is able to get there. He gets it across to Svensson, who makes a pass. Sehu Guirassy can't get there in time. Ooh. So close.
That was so close.
But now they swing it right to the right wing side here. Jan Kuto tries to lay the cross in, but it only finds the head of Pirka, who's also had a very good game for St. Pauli. Passes it out, goes for a throw-in for Borussia Dortmund. Here comes Chukwuemeka. Passing it across now to Waldemar Anton as they set up. All 11 players for St. Pauli are behind the ball, defending. They know they need a point from here. They've come this far. They can't lose this game right now. Well, Chukwuemeka looks to have gone down in some pain here. He came from a heavy challenge from Sands, but the referee waves play on. And I believe it's a throw-in for St. Pauli, the visitors.
Definitely. And Niko Kovac seemingly uncomfortable with things the way they are. And hunger is etched everywhere on the faces of the Dortmund players. They indeed know that it will be so disappointing in front of the home fans who turned up in huge numbers, including the German Chancellor.
Exactly, I forgot about that. The German Chancellor is watching this, well, not collapse, but, they have conceded 2 goals here in this half. Alexander Blessing, on the other hand, the coach of St. Pauli, can only, I would imagine, can only be proud of how his players have responded. They go in search of a winner here. It comes to Ricky J. Jones, who loses out. And they move it up on the right wing side here. Pirka passes it on. Fujita loses it, and it comes out all the way to Sehu Girassi. But it ping-pongs around, and now it's suddenly St. Pauli keeping the ball up high, away from their own goal, which is really good for them, as Ricky J. Jones right in the corner now, looking to take on the Dortmund defense. He knocks it into a player hoping for a corner kick, but it only ends up in possession for Dortmund, and they get the goal kick.
Indeed, it is a goal kick. And as we can see, the coach, Blessing, is passing, across the touchline. Of course, with, some sort of a hidden pride, if he goes with at least a point, it is
would be a great
nothing,
result for them, certainly, George. But here come Dortmund. Ball comes right across. Doesn't quite reach Sehu Girassi, comes out to midfield. Schlotterbeck considers his options. He's in the center of the pitch, passes it across to his defensive partner, comes out to the right wing side to the veteran, Emre Can, but he can't go anywhere. Passes it right the way back. They've been pushed right to the halfway line, have Dortmund. Every St. Pauli player defending for their club, who've done so well to come back from 2-0 down.
They know what that means, definitely.
And Schlotterbeck loses concentration there and ends up almost losing the ball, but Dortmund come away with it. Really tenacious stuff from Fujita here. He's been a bundle of energy, chasing everything that moves. And here again, look at the tenacity. And it almost leads to a one-on-one situation. Wow. For St. Pauli. Wow. They are a team that has not given up. They do not want to leave here empty-handed.
This is a spirited performance, Kai.
Yeah. Oh, and George, looking across the scores of the Bundesliga, if my eyes are not deceiving me, Cologne have taken a 2-1 lead over Mainz.
I told you.
Oh, my goodness. You were right about that.
I told you. And of course, that leaves Cologne at the 10th position in the Bundesliga with 20 points, just some 3 points behind Union Berlin.
Yeah, but that's another good. Well, if it stays that way, it'll be a good result for Cologne because they trailed that match for a long time. Unlike Dortmund, who again have given up a 2-goal lead as they try to get a goal here, but they really look a bit toothless up front, it has to be said. Ever since Adeyemi went off, they've been unable to generate chances.
Yeah, and definitely that goal from Cologne has really seemingly saved even St. Pauli, because this means Mainz gets back to the bottom of the table.
That's a good point, George. You're right. That puts, results have so far, although we still probably have some minutes to play here. Perhaps something can happen here. It's danger as Mecha is marching into the box, but is forced out. He has the ball on the left position, passes it back to Schlotterbeck. To Mecha, gets it again, but they're unable to get in across. They've not threatened the goal, but will they?
4 minutes of added time.
Here comes Can. Here comes Can. Ball is in the middle. Oh my goodness. St. Pauli defending for their lives, and they try really hard and are able to get the ball out. But the black and yellow still have control over the ball. This was so close. Emre Can, the veteran that he is, puts the ball in dangerous area. Somehow it doesn't end up in the net. And here we have Dortmund going back on the attack. What tense action.
It is tense. And it is mocking. Maybe a goal. Maybe giving at any given time here.
Well, here we saw Jan Kuto showing off some really fancy footwork, going past two defenders. He goes past 2 defenders, cuts right inside, but he's unable to get past the outstretched leg of Eric Smith, the captain of St. Pauli, who gets in between, and it goes out for a corner kick. Now, will they manage to get it in? Sehu Girassi is waving. He wants the ball. He wants to put one in here. Corner comes in from the right side. Floats in high, goes up high, and it's knocked all the way out. Schlotterbeck manages to collect it on the side, but his effort is very tame. It goes out for a corner kick, though. Eric Smith been everywhere on the pitch, George.
Everywhere. That is a second corner kick.
Eric Smith, the captain, he's assisted both goals for St. Pauli, and he's defending like he's put in a real captain's shift here, I have to say. Corner comes in, unable. Dortmund are unable to make much of it. And a free kick given away here. Quite unnecessary, right on the edge of the corner box here by Ricky J. Jones. It's very close, in fact, to the corner box. I mean,
needs to be careful.
Let's be careful. It's
easily give a penalty at these dying minutes of the game.
No, it's just outside the. Well, George, it looks like it's actually in the replays a lot more closer than it looked. The corner, the free kick is literally on the tip of the St. Pauli box, as we see Niko Kovac shouting at his players to get in position, because this could be their last chance. There's about 90 seconds left in the game, George.
90 seconds left in the game. Of course, Dortmund not so comfortable with a draw at home.
Is this going to be a corner kick?
Maybe they could be checking it for a potential penalty.
The initial call was that it's outside the box. That much. What they're checking is if the foul was committed inside the box. The referee has told everyone to calm down and wait for his signal. Oof. The tension is palpable here. The referee has not yet. Yeah, that's the decision, George. Was the foul committed inside the box or not? Certainly.
That was so close. It must be checked, Kai.
Certainly, it didn't look like it at first stage, but what is happening here?
Ein möglicher Elfmeter für Dortmund wurde überprüft. Das Foulspiel war innerhalb des Strafraums.
It is!
Oh my goodness. And this must be absolute heartbreak for St. Pauli, because they've just heard that, in fact, the foul was committed just inside the box. And Ricky J. Jones, who...
He's lifting his hands up.
He looks crestfallen. He goes for the ball here, commits a foul, and it's... I mean, this I think is really, really unlucky for St. Pauli.
Indeed, a very unlucky moment, Kai.
Oh my goodness.
Unfassbar, that is how Germans would call it. Unbelievable.
Oh my goodness. We're talking about football writing its own story. Whatever script you had in mind, you probably did not have this in mind. It's got to be Emre Can, the captain.
At the dying minutes.
In the dying minutes, to put Dortmund ahead, to seal the win for the black and yellows. He shoots and it's in. The black and yellows have lift off here at Signal Iduna Park. The goalkeeper, Vasilj, goes the right direction. He does all he can, but the penalty is too good. It's too precise, and it's in the back of the net. And there's one man who is more elite than anyone else, and that is Niko Kovac, George.
How lucky can a team be?
Oh,
how lucky can a game be?
I don't know, George, what we've witnessed here today. We've had all sorts of emotions, and what calmness by the captain, Emre Can, to put this one to bed and find the bottom corner and give Dortmund the win here. What a kick.
What a kick,
George,
what a conversion.
I've got goosebumps. I don't know what to say. As happy as I am for Dortmund, I can't believe what it must be like to be in the shoes of St. Pauli, who have done so much to get themselves back in this game, only to lose it to a penalty shot like that.
I cannot neither believe it, actually. Oh, what a way of ending this.
Well, oh my goodness. Football, what it can do to you. Here we go. as St. Pauli trying hard to get a shot. They get a shot off, but they can only be seconds left in the game here. Gregor Kobel certainly waiting it out to see if he can save some seconds of the game. But George, wow.
Ricky J. Jones, of course, feeling deeply disappointed. Of course, him having given that
penalty away. My goodness. Yeah, and Dortmund don't really care anywhere but near their goal. But how much time left? The question that we've played 6 minutes, over almost 7 minutes of added time. But it's the referee is still letting it go on. So I wonder what we still have in store here. It's going to be a corner kick for St. Pauli. In the dying embers of this game, George, they have a corner kick.
Can they convert it?
Well, certainly Niko Kovac is patrolling his dugout, not even daring to look. The goalkeeper, Nikola Vasilj from St. Pauli, has come up. The drama. Captain Eric Smith now with the corner kick. The away fans waving their flags. Oh! And it's knocked out, but Eric Smith has the ball again. He comes. Can he get another cross in? It's a good cross, but it ends up in the arms of Gregor Kobel. Oh, my goodness.
What a game.
What a game. Gregor Kobel hangs onto the ball as if his life depends on it. And Niko Kovac signaling to his players anywhere but near our goal. And the ref, I mean, really, there really can't be much left in this game. Referee raises his whistle. There it is.
There it is.
Oh, my goodness, George. The St. Pauli players all fall to their knees. What a shift they put in. And quite honestly, I don't remember watching a more scintillating game of football than this in this Bundesliga season.
Sensational indeed. And of course, with full of disappointment from that particular mistake. It happens in football, definitely.
Yeah,
And,
you can see just by the look of these poor St. Pauli players, they put everything in. The players are trying to console Ricky J. Jones, who really probably cannot believe what has happened, because he did so well to bring St. Pauli back into the game with a scintillating goal himself. Captain Eric Smith probably can't believe that somehow a point has slipped out of their grasp here. I mean, this feels like the end of a cup final, doesn't it?
It indeed feels like that, definitely, Kai. Remember, you would say this was a team that was, of course, at the rock bottom of the table against a team that was, at the top flight. Of course, the number 2 in the Bundesliga. But they've really pulled a shift, as you've said earlier on.
Wow. I mean, really, I can't believe this. I mean, the original decision was that the foul happened outside the box. VAR came in and the referee, after consultation with VAR, pointed at the spot. The referee didn't have the choice there. He was told by VAR that the foul happened inside the box, so it has to be a penalty kick. And my goodness, I think I need a minute or two to come back from this game. George, what has happened across the Bundesliga? Because I really doubt there could have been a more exciting match than what we've just witnessed.
Yeah, definitely there was no any exciting one, except, of course, Cologne having pulled, that victorious goal to end the game at 2-1 against Mainz. Hamburg and Gladbach ending at 0-0. Heidenheim sharing the spoils with Wolfsburg. And, of course, this particular one, we didn't expect it to end at 3-2. One goal, a penalty at the dying minutes, making sure that Dortmund retained 3 points at home. And lastly, Hoffenheim, of course, still giving a spirited performance with a 1-0 defeat against Leverkusen.
Well, we're now watching Alexander Blessing talking to his players in the center of the pitch. What is he saying? He is speaking with a lot of passion to his players, probably encouraging them to say that, look at the effort they've put in, that this is like I mean, I can't think that he has that many complaints with their effort in the second half, does Coach Alexander Blessing. But football can be cruel sometimes, George. How do you, as a coach, encourage your players after a game like this?
Definitely with such a spirited performance, and they were away as well. It is just a matter of encouraging them and telling them that, of course, they need to improve on that, performance in their next game, definitely. And they know that seated at the rock bottom of the table, they just need to win. And the next game they will be facing Hamburg, and they would want nothing but a victory.
Well, George, that game between St. Pauli and Hamburg really does take up an even bigger deal then, doesn't it? Because not only is it a game where the clubs actually all need to win and try and obviously every single point matters, but St. Pauli and Hamburg is, of course, a massive intercity derby. Little St. Pauli versus Hamburg, an older club, a more famous club. But my goodness, on a performance like this, probably really good preparation for the emotion that kind of derby will bring.
Definitely. It will be a very interesting game to watch, actually.
And you can see not a single St. Pauli fan has left the stands. They are applauding their team as they go across, as the St. Pauli players go across to thank their fans for their support during such a game. I mean, this is just a league match, George, but wow, I feel this has been like more than that. Certainly,
it has certainly been more than a league game, Kai. But needless to overemphasize, St. Pauli still has a game in hand. They've only played 17 games, whereas other teams are playing their 18th game. Of course, this being the match day 18 of 34 in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, as we watch the players all sort of recover from what has been definitely a scintillating Bundesliga match, might be worth us looking ahead, George, as we're not yet quite done with the Bundesliga. There is another match this evening, big match between RB Leipzig and Bayern Munich. Two big clubs with both have very big ambitions. And the really cool thing is that we will have a look at them. But first of all, I think it's time now we also hear from Coach Vincent Kompany, coach of Bayern Munich, talking about how Bayern Munich is going through such a record-breaking season. They've scored more goals. Harry Kane is firing on all cylinders. They've been really amazing. They've had a record-breaking season so far. So we'll hear now from him now.
Oh, it's conflicting because normally I'm really not someone for records like this mid-season. It's something you look back at, but I have to be honest, since I've come to this club, I've come to realize how incredibly high the standards are, how incredible teams have achieved incredible results over the years. So I will take this record for my players because my players achieved it, not me, but I want them to take this record, put it in the pocket. At least that's something they've achieved, and then continue, put the clock back to where it should be, from the start, and try and win the second round now.
So that was Vincent Kompany talking about the record-breaking season they've had, but we also need to remember that they've been doing this with so many injuries. Now, we also heard from Vincent Kompany, who told us how exactly they've managed to do it despite having so many injuries.
No, there's a list of players. We had 6 players not there today. Kimmich Musiala, Alphonso Davies, Nicholas Jackson, Sacha Boey, and I'm forgetting one. I shouldn't forget one, really. But anyway, top of my head, the most important thing is that we will get them back soon, and they'll be able to help us very soon, and we need them.
Right, George. Now we heard the humble voice of Vincent Kompany again, another Manchester City link over there. He used to play for Manchester City, had lots of success as a player, and he talked about who they've not had in their lineup. But we now have their lineups for the game against RB Leipzig. Who is in them?
Definitely the predictable lineup. Neuer, of course, beginning at the goal post. We have Ito, Ta, Jonathan, Opamecano, Bishop leading that defense, and of course Pavlovic and Leon Goretzka Diaz, Karl, Nabri Saji, and of course Harry Kane will be looking forward to extend his Bundesliga reign as a top scorer.
Yeah, certainly Harry Kane already got 20 goals this season, unbelievably. It doesn't make sense. They've only played 8. This will be their 18th match. He's already scored 20 goals.
20 goals, guy.
It's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's the lineup for Bayern Munich. Now looking at RB Leipzig in goal, Peter Gulaschi on the right back position, Riedle Baku in the central defense, Willy Orban, Castello Luqueba, David Raum on the left back position. In the central defensive midfield, Nicolas Seiwald. Far on the right wing position, Xaver Schlager and his Austrian colleague Christoph Baumgartner on the left wing position. Then they're playing with the front three with Antonio Nusa, Romulu, and the Ivorian, just back from Africa Cup of Nations duty, Jan Diomande. So very attacking lineups, it has to be said, George, looking at that particularly setup, don't you think?
Definitely. And the question is, will Leipzig stop Bayern reign? And of course, they have been known as a serial, Bundesliga winners. And people are yearning for some changes and people can give them a run for their money.
Well, George, I would say that earlier this was a game. I would say that this is a game that probably Bayern Munich should win and probably will win. But after what we witnessed today, after such a topsy-turvy match, I certainly feel that there could be more excitement in store, don't you think?
Yeah, could be. And if Leipzig manages to, of course, pull a surprising defeat, it will work towards their favor as well, because it improves their numbers and also their position in the Bundesliga.
Well, a quick look at the Bundesliga table before we sign off. Still in first place, Bayern Munich, followed by Borussia Dortmund. Hoffenheim, their win brings them up to third. RB Leipzig in fourth. Stuttgart and Leverkusen behind. Then all the way to the bottom, St. Pauli, rooted to the bottom after this loss. Mainz and Heidenheim just above them. And that is where we look right now at this time on Saturday, at the end of our Bundesliga transmission. From me, Kai Nebbe, it has been an absolute pleasure. What a game we witnessed, and thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, and my name is George Okachi. Many thanks for making time to be part of this.
We'll see you next week.